But let's start by I just you and Steve know each other from the Zoom group. But this is Michael Hall.
Hey,
So my
Stacy.
Hi,
yeah,
Steve.
let
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Stacy.
let's just go around and say a little bit about each other. I'm Mark, of course, and I think everybody knows me, and I'm leaving the Mystery Writers Board at the end of December, and moving on to a lot of other stuff. Stacy, how are you?
I'm doing great. I retired from the practice of law in 2018. I was mostly during my career general counsel at Thomas Jefferson University Hospital in Philadelphia. Um, I always loved writing and have kept a journal ever since I was a child. Um, I just worked with Mark on my first book, self-published, and we have our first reading coming up next weekend, which I'm thrilled about. Um, and it's a memoir. And I've always been a person who reads tons of literary fiction. That's my preferred genre. Um, Never have written real fiction. I tried once and thought it came out terrible. So maybe I thought I would pick up some pointers and pick it back up. And let's see, what else? Anything else, Mark? I'm going to move soon to Stockton, New Jersey. I live right now in Lambertville, so I'm moving from one river town to another in New Jersey. Um, uh, I have, let's see, three kids and three granddaughters. Um, and the book is about the loss of my eldest son
Oh.
in the year 2013.
And
So,
you'll be living about a mile from us.
I
So,
know, I know. It's really, I'll come over when you do these things.
well, you like I said, you and Frank, he walks all the time. You should walk together.
Yeah, sure. I love to walk.
Okay, Steve, we'll just go clockwise
All
according
right.
to my screen.
Yes, Steve Wiley. I have been retired since 2020. I live in Henderson, Kentucky. I'm kind of the outlier of the group because I'm in the Midwest, sort of the South. This is my husband's hometown. My husband and I have been together for almost 27 years. On Christmas Eve, it'll be 27 years, and married for 25. I'm a budding novelist. I started working on a novel about a year ago, and Mark's read a few of the chapters and given me some wonderful feedback. So I'm hoping this workshop will give me an opportunity to kind of figure out where I need to take this and what I need to do in my edit review cycles. And but anyway, I so far I'm pretty pleased with it. I'm a cancer survivor, and so this is a story about it's a fiction. It's a male-male romance, but prostate cancer is a part of the story because that was a part of my story.
All right. Okay.
And I'm going to ask you some questions about that when we start talking. Are you keeping it? I know you're doing it your Substack.
Yeah, and I've gotten way behind. I was releasing a chapter or two every week, and I kind of got lost with the holidays and everything. So I need to get back into that.
Are writing it? Are you publishing them as you write it?
No, no, I've got
Okay.
I think almost 40 chapters done, and I think I've only published seven or eight.
Okay. All right. Michael, how you doing?
Good. Michael Hall. I've been retired since December of 2023. I worked for New York City Transit, the MTA, so don't hold that against me. And I have four kids, boy, girl, boy, boy. And I've been married 47 years.
Hmm.
Wow.
Was
Congratulations.
writing as far back as I can remember and only for the fun of it. And it wasn't until a number of years ago where friends, of course, they get the first dibs on reading something. And they said, "Oh, yeah, are you going to publish this?" And I didn't think anything of it until I started to come up with a children's book for my daughter when she was around 15, 16 years old. So I started thinking seriously about that. And then I was writing what I call crime, hard-boiled fiction. And so I'm spread myself out in that way. And I'm thinking at this age, as long as it's good enough and people say it's a good read, maybe I can get it published, you know?
Now, before we go further, I should let you know I'm recording the call because specifically I wanted an audio track of my voice because I'm going to be doing something with that. But is it okay? Are you okay with the fact that I'm recording it?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, sure.
I might use it as a sample on my Your Right Path website. I don't know, but I should let everybody know that.
Okay. Well,
What I'm going to do is we're going to go through this. I'm going to screen share. So I got to make sure I don't lose anybody. Where'd you go? Hang on. There you are. Oh yeah, that's okay. Sometimes when you do that, the panel gets really small.
mm.
Okay. Why didn't I think of that? Yeah, this kind of brings me to, first of all, I know everybody's on here because you want to write, and whatever your genre, whether it's literary fiction, mystery writing, horror fiction, whatever it is, I think, assume you're doing this because you want to explore the craft of fiction writing to some extent. And I want to start out with where do our ideas come from? I'm curious to know where some people get your ideas because I really excited about this because we had Thanksgiving with some friends at a restaurant and we went back to their house, Beth and Bruce. And Bruce is an artist. He carves and paints, and he does just all kinds of stuff. And he's an amazing photographer. And in his garage, he had a barrel of walking sticks because we're all in the hiking club, and he wants to get rid of them because he's got like maybe 20 walking sticks that he'd made. And he said, "Lo, take a walking stick." So Frank and I each picked one out. This is mine. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, very.
And what happened
I was
was huh?
frozen for a minute. Just to tell you, I was frozen for a minute, says my
Oh
connection is
yeah.
unstable. So if that
Okay.
happens, I'm going to switch to my phone. Okay.
Okay, yeah, don't worry about it. The there's anyways, it's an amazing walking stick, multicolored, and the way my mind works, and then I want to ask you where you get ideas. The way my mind works, and this had happened in a long time. I instantly saw um a short st- not a, I instantly saw a story, and it's going to be a novel. I don't want it to be a short story because there's no market for short stories. I mean, we're not going to really talk about markets here, but short stories are great. If you love to write them, that's great. But unless you get into the New Yorker or something, you're going to end up with something you can tell your friends about, which I just did at the 100 in the library. I won third place. My short story got third place. I mean, it's exciting. I'm thrilled about it, but if you're trying to reach lots of people and maybe make a little bit of money, short
Mhm.
stories are probably not the way to go.
Mm.
Um, but I love doing it. But anyways, it's a novel and it's called, can you see it?
Mhm.
There we
Yeah.
go. The Devil's Walking Stick.
Oh.
It's a working title. I kind of like it and I'm not sure, but I don't want to just call it The Walking Stick. That's the title of a short story. But it's a horror story and guess where it's set, Stacy? It's set
Uh,
in
Lambertville?
Kingwood Township.
Oh, Kingwood Township. Oh,
These
okay.
these these two boys are in the woods. I mean, if you and you know where we live, you've seen where
Mhm.
we live. We
Yes,
live in the woods. So they're in the woods and they find this walking stick, and the one kid is like he's fascinated, but the other kid like senses there's something not right here. And so he wants to get the hell out of there. And then the one kid, Matthew, he's going to take the stick home, and then he looks down and he sees this little white piece of white shard in the ground, and he starts digging it. It's a skull.
Mhm.
And so the last sentence of the opening is that, he understood why his friend Micah ran off, and that later on he would understood that he should have too. So it's the beginning of a horror story. They're not the protagonists. We're going to talk about protagonists and antagonists and villains and heroes, but that's how it opens. But he's not the central character of the story. Anyways, I was excited. I haven't been excited in a long time. I was telling Michael before we started that I keep trying to finish books that I've been plugging away at for 2 years, and it's like the time comes, I think, to at least put it aside and not feel like I failed because I didn't finish it. It's one of my problems. If I don't finish something, I feel like I have not accomplished what I wanted to. Where do you get some of your ideas? If you get them, I'm assuming everybody has ideas for stories that they want to tell or that they've told.
Well,
Jump in.
I'm in.
well,
Go ahead, you go.
no, no, Stacy, you go first.
Well, I was just going to say the book that I wrote that I know is terrible. I get about 50,000 words in before I gave up. So, I might pick it back up. But it was largely based on an unusual way that my husband, who is a sculptor and is German, came to America. So I thought it would be interesting to do research on Vermont marble, which is what he has spent a lot of time working on and with. Um, and The way he came here, which I don't want to reveal, but it was, um, if it were today, let's just say it might be very precarious. And I use that as sort of his biography as sort of a launching point, to tell a story about different characters, but one of whom is sort of based on um, a sculptor who comes here from Germany.
Now that brings something up that I was going to mention too, because I start out in my notes that the desire to write, I believe, is the desire to tell a story, whether it's an autobiography, a memoir, fiction, whatever it is. We are storytellers. I think that's why we get into this. And sometimes, like I started when I was 10 years old, because it was a way of means of escape, but I don't want to. That's too therapeutic. It was I wanted to tell stories. And that's still what I want to do. I love to make things up. I mean, that's the excitement of writing for me is that I get to create worlds that weren't there
Mhm.
until I got them, they started taking shape in my mind. But also a lot of it is autobiographical because I end up using things, especially locations where I live.
Mhm.
Lambertville, New York City, when I lived there, I use even the people in my life sometimes will show up in a story. And what Stacy was sharing about made me think of that. I think it's unavoidable. It's also kind of helps. It helps to write about, that old adage, write what you know. I think that's, I don't know, you can take that in a lot of different ways, but writing about the areas that I know help me to create the worlds that I'm trying to present to people.
Mhm.
Steve, how about you?
Well, the book that I'm currently working on was prompted by my own cancer diagnosis. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer in June of 2024. After meeting with the radiation oncologist and my surgeon urologist, chose surgery as the option that was going to be the best for me and my lifestyle. And so decided to use that as the basis for the novel, but that's really the only thing. It's a male romance where the guy who's diagnosed with prostate cancer was married to a woman and she dies of cancer, and he meets this guy in town that he hadn't never met before, and sparks start flying. So um, that's not related to my life at all, but the cancer part was, and I wanted to write a novel that I thought would resonate enough with people that they actually might want to make sure that their own health is okay. I've been ever since my diagnosis, I've been an advocate on social media about getting tested, making sure that you know what your PSA is, and especially as you reach a certain age, and because 1 in 8 men are going to get diagnosed with prostate cancer at some point in their lives. So I got active with the beginning with Prostate Cancer Foundation and did a fundraiser for them, and so I've that's kind of been the center of my life for the past 19 months, and not with any regrets at all. So I started one other novel about 12 or 13 years ago that was related to my growing up in Peru, Indiana. Mark kind of knows where Peru is in northern Indiana, and it's a circus town. And every year, the junior high and high school students put on a local amateur circus that's directed by adults who have circus experience, and it's probably the most professional looking amateur circus you could imagine. It's got all of the big circus acts except for animals. They don't do any animal acts, but so I tried writing a novel about a boy who grows up in the circus, and I got about 3 chapters in, and the inner saboteur in me said,
Well, but I have a question about that because one of my favorite books ever written is called Geek Life or Geek Love
"Hmm,
by Catherine Dunn. She's dead, but it's about a circus family. But it's really really strange
No.
and extremely well written.
Hmm.
You might want to check that out,
Yeah.
you know. Michael.
Sorry.
My ideas, like earlier when I was talking about my daughter's book, she liked penguins and cardinals, and she had a close relationship with my mother-in-law, her grandmother, and when my mother-in-law passed away, we came home from the memorial, and there were two cardinals sitting on the rocking chair that we always kept for her. And my daughter just like, oh, grandma's here, grandma's here. And she got into a little funk. And so I started to write this story. I couldn't think of a name, so I came up with Cosmo, but it's about a penguin who is brought up by a family of cardinals. The story behind that is that a bunch of poachers take um, the penguins from Australia, and their plane runs into a storm and it downs in the Great South Bay here on Long Island. And as the plane was going down, the crates were pushed out of the DC-3, and this penguin ended up in a as a baby penguin, a little fairy penguin. They're called little blue penguins, the smallest penguins in the world, and it ended up in this nest of a male and female cardinal, and then the story goes on from there, where they have a terrible cat that's wreaking havoc with the community of birds, and then it takes on from there. And that was when I seriously started thinking, well, you know what? If I don't do anything, let me write this for her, you
Hmm.
know. And then that just spurred on other. I always was writing. Um, looking at pictures and things like that. I had a friend of mine. Just he has a little bit of palsy, and we were talking, and I like Tom Waits, the singer, and so he had a character in one of his songs called Mr. Stitches, and my friend said, well, he walks around sometimes like he's Mr. Wobbles. So I wrote those were two of the things I sent you, Mark, Mr. Stitches and Mr. Wobbles. So just by a name sometimes can spur on an idea. So for me, I guess they come everywhere, from any place if you think about it.
Wow.
You write mysteries too.
Yes, the I've always been interested. I'm a fanatic with Raymond Chandler and Dashiell Hammett and John Carroll Daly and all the old writers, and so that's really how I write my stories. Everything takes place in the 1940s, early 1950s in Los Angeles, and things like that. And so I have written five of those.
Hmm.
Um, I have a lot of stuff not published, but that's how it happens.
Cool. I just have to say something in response to what Steve said because it gave me this idea for a story already. That's based on true facts. My uncle, my maternal uncle, my family's Jewish, and my maternal uncle married outside of the religion when he was about 21 years old, and my grandparents, his parents, became so upset with him that they quote unquote disowned him. I don't even know what that
Mm.
means, but he fled and became a carny, and a box of his belongings were found in Indiana.
Oh, wow.
Real,
Wow.
Wow.
for real. Yeah.
Wow.
And like, yeah, like we don't even know where he was. And for 40 years, no one heard from him. And then he did turn up later. It would actually be a really good story.
Hmm.
Um,
Was there a walking stick in his
it's
belongings?
no one.
Mm.
And by the way, if you have comments or questions or anything like that, feel free to interject. You know,
Mm.
um, the second slide is because okay, I've got a story. You saw a poster. I saw a poster about a black cat and a white paws. Oh, I love that title. I'm going to write a murder mystery. Or I got a cane. I'm going to write a horror story. Or whatever it is that you're writing. Once you have a story, then what? You have to have somebody to tell it. And it's not really you. I mean, unless it's a memoir or an autobiography, it's really not you. Um, so you've got to come up with, characters, and the central character is the protagonist. In the little author world, the writer world, they call them MCs, main characters, because character is going to dictate your story. Character is story, and story is character. You can't. I don't think you can really divorce one from the other because as you develop a character, uh, it's going to enhance the story because the character eventually becomes, especially when you start writing them in a little bit, they take on a life of their own. And I went to a reading last night. It was really good. There's a young author named Nathan Harris who was like an Oprah's book club pick, and he won the not the Booker Prize. He won something really good, and it's historical fiction. And it was moderated by Nev March. You know Nev, Michael.
Mhm.
She's the president of the Mystery Writers, but it's not
Yeah.
mystery at all. It's about slavery, the slavery times. But and he just got a second. Anyways, it was a really good talk, and he talked a lot about how um, the process of how he creates a little bit, like a little bit of an outline, but then once he creates these characters, they may turn out to be not who he thought they were, or they might say, especially when you're working with them in scenes. I love to be surprised. I love when I'm writing and a character surprises me. As a little tiny little example, the that first chapter with the walking stick, I didn't know he was going to find a skull.
Right.
I just had him finding the stick. And then I'm laying in bed or I'm in the shower, I'm walking down the road and I go like, oh, he finds a skull. That's perfect because it leads into the rest. And then at the end, I think somehow it's going to come back there. But so your characters are going to tell you what they want to do to some extent. They might rebel. They might turn out to be not as likable as you thought they were going to be. And it all combusts in the flame of your imagination. If your character's running away from home, for instance, why are they doing that?
Mm.
If they're making that choice, new possibilities are going to arise. Where are they running to? What are they going to discover? What's going to happen to them? So that's part of what I wanted to talk about in this whole process is that you have to have a protagonist, no matter what it is. I guess I should accept memoir and autobiography because you are the protagonist. It's your story. But in a fiction story, historical fiction, horror, any kind of fiction story, your character is the vein that runs through all of it and what happens to them, and they need to want something. I have had to learn through years of doing it, and that like a passive character is not a good idea for a story. um Someone recently told me that a book that I really like, I mean, I really like this book, but she said everything happens to him. He's not active. And I don't know that I agree with that. I don't have to agree with it, but I also have to be willing to learn. No matter how many times I've done something, I have to be willing to learn. And I'm like, okay, I sort of, so if I ever finish the second book, then I'm aware of the fact that he as the protagonist and the hero, he needs to make things happen.